Hello and welcome to what is hopefully the first of many rounds of the YouTuber Karting Championship. Myself and Aldas did a 5-round go-karting championship this year and recorded every last twist and turn, every crazy decision, every mental move, all for your viewing pleasure. So sit back, relax, maybe grab a drink and some popcorn as we jump into round 1 here at Brighton. How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another karting video.
This is it, 2022. To be fair, this is the proper start of the season and a start of a new series, our Karting Championship. 5 races. The first one is at Brighton, and we've got 4 more to go. And JB, what are we doing in terms of the point system?
Point system for this short 5-round series. If you place from 1st to 10th, you get 10 to 1 points, nice and easy, and you get a point for fastest lap. We're arguing over points for quali, but we'll sort that out as we go. I come into the round with some good momentum. I won last time in Buckmore. I won the time before in Sandown. However, I haven't driven this track before. Only Aldas has driven this track before. Out of the
I knew he was going to get that in.
And I'm hanging a little bit, so I'm getting my excuses out nice and early.
Listen, I've never driven this track in the dry, so it's going to be a learning experience for both of us, but it is going to be absolutely exciting. Hopefully it will go down to the last race.
I hope so. Remember to hit the like button if you enjoy this kind of content. Subscribe to both channels if you're new. But as always, without further ado, let's get into the championship. Now, the reason why this championship is going to be so interesting is because Aldas and I are usually within a few tenths of each other. I weigh almost 30 kilograms more than Aldas, which means he's often a little bit quicker out of corners and on the straights, but I also have a lot more experience than Aldas, which comes through in some of my karting. So it's a great championship to get into here. Let's get straight into it. Skip quali here. Aldas finished about 6 tenths ahead of me. I came P2 and we were way ahead of the rest of the field. So for this one, we weren't particularly worried about the other people getting in the way of the championship, which is what we wanted them to do. Unfortunately, we didn't get too many fast people here on this day. Oh, and by the way, before we get into this race, I want you guys to do 3 things for me. The first one is to hit the like button if you enjoy karting content and want to see the second episode of this come out. The second thing I want you to do is to comment down below before the race begins, who do you think's taking it here in Brighton? And the third thing I want you to do today is to queue up Aldas's video, because in this video I'm going to mostly focus on my own perspective of this race. If you want to see Aldas's perspective, make sure you queue up his video and watch his one next. So then, let's get straight into the race. It's a rolling start here, so I'm not actually going to try and overtake Aldas as we pull off the line. But yeah, pulling in behind him nice and quickly, waiting till he's past the start-finish line. I'm not allowed to go ahead of him here. Let him take the line, and we are away onto lap 1, race 1 of the YouTuber Karting Championship for 2022. To the inside I go straight away, cold tyres, and Aldas is caught napping there on the outside, so I went straight up his inside and took into P1. So this is great news for me, but maybe not so much for Aldas. Coming in through this corner here, I love this section of track. We come under the bridge and then round that corner, but awful line by me. You can see also my tyres are cold, and I'm also just cold to the track. Even after a nice long qualifying, I think it was like 10-15 minutes of qualifying, I still didn't feel like I was comfortable with the track. This corner in particular was a real Achilles heel for me. I really didn't know how to do that corner properly. You can see they're going a little bit defensive there because Aldas had the overspeed on me coming out of that corner, but then coming through here nice and tight, getting round to the outside, and I love this little downhill section. This is a really lovely track to drive. It is Brighton. Honestly, it's such a nice sort of flowing track. It's a little bit tight. It's kind of like a team sport, but outdoors, the best way of describing it. But the flow is just so good. Here comes Aldas to the inside though, sending it up the inside, and I get the switch back on him, run him a bit wide there just to make sure he doesn't have enough speed to chase me back down onto this straight section. Skipping ahead now onto lap 3, and Aldas is still behind me somehow. I'm just doing my best to hold him behind, despite my line choices and some of my driving not being as good as maybe it should be. And here is a good example of that. Coming into that corner, just went way too wide, not good at all, which gave Aldas the speed to come around my outside here. Luckily, I was able to take the inside coming into this section, and that tightens up nicely so that he couldn't get past me. Onto lap 4 then, we're pushing on, trying to get as fast as possible down this hill into the right-hander. Not too much slip, you just want to let the back come out a teeny little bit and then maximize the amount of track that you use fast enough through there. Coming in through here, using that little thing on the inside there to try and pull yourself around. But Aldas looks like he's got the speed. You can see that I kind of wavered away from him a little bit there. I thought he was going to up me inside. He didn't in the end, which is great news for me. Still holding on to P1. coming through here, maybe a little bit too aggressive on that curve because it really unsettled the kart, and coming into this corner here, you can see I've screwed it up again, just gone way too wide, ruined my line, and gone way too tight as well, giving Audas the opportunity to go up the inside here. I'm going to try to hit the outside, not quite fast enough. He's going to get held up with the back markers though. Can I squeeze back in? No, not on this occasion, unfortunately. So now as we go on to lap 5, Audas is in the lead of the race, which is terrible news for me. I'm going to have to push really hard to try and keep up with him. So I know he's definitely faster than me around here with his previous experience, and yeah, dude's just absolutely on rails right now. So I've got to try and sit in behind him, follow his lines, and see what he's doing. This corner here, he's got a great line through there. The way that he comes across was super nice. But coming on to lap 6 then, and I've still managed to just about stay with him. You can see he's looking to the side, trying to work out where I am. I'm going to send it up the inside. He's gone a little bit wide there, and yeah, I take over P1 again. So here on lap 6, I've taken over the lead of the race once again. Opportunity now to try and break away from Audas and see if I can put any daylight between the two of us, because even though he's faster than me, and I'm sure many of you guys know from karting, sometimes you can just get parts of the race where you're going a little bit quicker than someone else and they're going a bit quicker than you. So it just depends on how the race unfolds. Skipping on to lap 7 though, you can see coming under the tunnel as I come into this corner, just trying to make sure that I don't leave too much space for Audas. He's going to take a different line though, go up the inside. This is a really great move by Audas, really cool to move up the inside there, but I'm going to hold it round the outside, just keep my foot in, hold it nice and wide, go for another switchback here. That was probably my fastest route through that corner despite not taking the correct line. Look at that, right side by side, lock into him just to make sure that he doesn't have too much speed on the straight, and he's held on. Somehow I have held on to P1 as we lead on to lap 8, but Audas is still right there. He's literally just there on my outside. I'm going to take it a little bit slower there just to make sure that I can hold him out on the outside and leave him out to dry as we go through the section. Down the hill once again into the right hand, they're coming under the tunnel, and we've got a back marker up ahead, but Audas has the speed coming into here, and he's going to have me, and he just breaks enough on the apex that turn to keep me behind him. Now I've got to chase after him again as we get stuck behind this back marker very briefly. Pushing on though, this is a great battle between Audas and I, trying really hard to not give either person an inch as we go through this section, and then there's a yellow flag slowing us down. But as we come on to lap 11, a little bit further ahead, Audas has put a bit of daylight between the two of us, which is never ideal for me. So clearly he had a little bit more speed over those last 4 or 5 laps or so. But coming into here, gets a nice big bump from that back marker, and into the barrier he goes. Oh, crazy stuff there, giving me the lead of the race as we're about a quarter of the way into this one. Let's have a look at that replay. So coming in there, you can see just up ahead, he gets up to the inside of that back marker, doesn't notice he's there, gets a little bounce off of him and into the barrier, does a great job to save it and not take too much, not end up in the barrier sort of facing the wrong way. He's still facing the right way so he can get out of it. But yeah, mate, that was sketchy for him, and it took him a few laps actually to catch me back up. So you can see here coming back on this this back marker here, coming through on lap 17, pushing around this corner. Am I going to get this corner right this time? No, still not right, and Audas does get it way better than I do. So I try and block as he to try and make his line as tight as possible, but it's not enough. Audas just has too much speed through there and takes over the lead of the race, coming on to the next lap, onto lap 18. Yeah, just didn't quite have the legs on him through that section. He was just way better, way more consistent. You can see through there he's got a great line as well, keeping it a little bit tighter than I am, and that's really helpful for him. But yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote for me, because I was trying my best to stay on him and get back past him. You can see here I've pushed back up the inside, but still not quite enough. He got a little bit held up there by that back marker, but yeah, not enough for me to make any real attempts at him. I'm going to try and stay with him through this section that I'm really bad at. That was slightly better through there, a little bit more speed, and I didn't go too wide on exit, but you can see still Audas just has that pace on exit that I just cannot keep up with. Coming through here, he gets a little bit held up by the back marker, giving me the opportunity to go through on the inside, but not quite. The back marker, we try and straddle him, can't quite get it. I end up going back around the outside, not quite getting the opportunity to go for it. So yeah, unfortunate here as we go on to lap 19, but coming back down the hill to where Audas had his crash, I'm still going to try and keep putting the pressure on, still going for it. Coming under the tunnel, and I'm just not close enough to mount any major challenge. And I really do like Audas' line through there. It's really solid. I haven't quite got that line in my locker yet. Hopefully in the not distant future we'll go back to Brighton and I can get that line a little bit better now, having watched how Audas has been doing it. And I love how he just throws it into that corner and gets way more speed. I'm just not getting that through that section. So yeah, Audas starting to put a little bit of a gap now though, which is a tad bit annoying. Back marker kindly lets me through. And yeah, as I said, that's pretty much all she wrote. On to the final lap of the race. Half of the race later, nothing else really happened in this race, so I don't want to waste your time watching me take over back markers and that kind of stuff. So here on the final lap of the race, just coming through down this section. I really like this section of track, as I said, coming down there, flat out through here, and then trying to get the speed to come through this section quickly. That was a little bit of a bad line there. Obviously lost the rear end a little bit. Coming across here, there's a great viewing angle up the top there as well. My fiance was also up there watching down, as well as some of the other friends and family. Coming through here then, coming into that final corner, that was probably a bit quicker coming through there without having to take my proper line. I honestly need to get that corner right at some point, and over the final two corners and across the line to finish off the race. And so here are your race results then. Bruddas came P1 with a 43.294 as his best lap, and I was 7/10 slower than that on the day. Not good enough by me. I finished 11 seconds behind, which is unfortunate. I would have finished about 6 seconds behind, but unfortunately I got a yellow flag that affected me and not Bruddas, which put me a few extra seconds behind him. For the champions, that means 11 points for him and 9 points for me. Here you can see confirmation of that on this screen. Of course, we then had the obligatory podium for the top 3 finishers, and if you're worried about the other drivers not being fast enough in this race, please hold on to the next event, as this got way more spicy. This was probably the easiest race of the entire season for Bruddas and I, so just make sure you've hit the like button, subscribed as well if you're new here, just because the next race is even more mental. So that brings this race to a wrap. Bruddas took the old P1, I took P2, very unfortunately.
P1, baby, come on!
He loves it, he loves it.
And
however,
fast lap, by the way.
And fast lap as well. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next round will be Buckmore Park, which I won at last time we went there, so hopefully it should be a good old race. But yeah, remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe as well if you're new, check out Bruddas' video, which should also be up by now. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Listen.